Welcome back to Carsten Uncut. Today's topic is, what do you expect from the other side of the table when you're sitting at the table? I have with me Marius from Procurement today, and he will share his view, and I'm Carsten, and this is my job to sell. Marius, what do you look for?
Yeah, Carsten, thanks for the question. Good to be here. So first of all, I expect sales to be connected to our core business. So a seller always needs to understand which are the products we are producing, which are the services which are useful for us, and also how can a partner or a supplier help in order to accelerate to the next step. So the core function of our business needs to be understood. Then the second thing is, I don't like people who oversell things. I like rather people who make specific topics in order to get forward, in order to tackle certain topics and to help the business to scale up. Another topic I would like to bring in is that, of course, I'm interested in commercial transparency, and in the end, for me, it's a trust business. So all those topics have trust in their capabilities from a technical perspective, have trust in their commercial transparency, is for me the basis for a foundation at the negotiation in the end.
Amazing, because if I can make it short, so you do not look for features and function sales, you want content, and you want transparency, and you want a real conversation between your partner, me on that side, for example, if it would be me, that we really look for the solution jointly, instead of just throwing something at you and then take it and run with it. So I think that makes absolutely perfect sense. I can tell you from my side what I would look for when I'm sitting on the sales table and you're sitting in the procurement side. I look for honesty, right? And the typical sentence that you always, the price is not the right price. Of course the price is not the right price, right? But I think that is not something that really helps us, but it's really what are the parameters that we need to work on in order to make the thing work for both parties, right? And that we jointly walk towards a solution. I think that is definitely always something that I look for. And the transparency, right? And just a comment like, it's not good enough, is very difficult to digest, because how much are we missing, right? To really work step by step towards a solution, that's something that I would look for. Do you have an example of what worked really well and what worked really bad for you in one negotiation that you had?
Yeah, so I would say a good example is, as you mentioned, if you have a certain basis of transparency and have a joint collaboration. For me, in the end, working on a deal is really like having all the parties involved internally and externally in that sense. And one party, of course, is the partner we are negotiating the deal with. And of course, all the transparency which is needed for both sides in order to make the deal a good one for both sides is to be shared. This is one expectation I have from you, for example, but also from my own organization, because only with that transparency you can work on a good deal where there in the end are no surprises, right? Where you can say, hey, actually we agreed on X, but in the end it was Y. And the bad example is then vice versa, when this did not happen, when like information which are visible are not properly shared. It's hard for you to work on a good deal, and it's hard for me to work on a good deal, because I need to sell that deal also inside. So a buyer is also a seller in that sense. Mm-hmm. And this can only work if information is shared and transparency is there. I would also have maybe one question to you, Carsten.
Sure.
How would you see, for me, salespeople are like driven by achieving the next quarterly results, and we as procurement, we are driven by how to be efficient over the next 5 years. How does that fit together for a deal?
I think I love that question. So, yes, we're driven by that. But you know what? I would always say, you and I met 2 years ago, I think, more or less. Actually more,
yeah,
4 or 5.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot the first episode of our life. But I think we started to build this trust relationship. I really come back to that more. I want to understand what is important for you, what do you look for, and beside the better price, which is an obvious thing, there is also the long-term piece that you just mentioned. So if we then work on the right trust relationship, I know what you look for, and I can work towards that, right? Just looking forward to make my quota is a very short-term lived thing. It's very, very short-term. I might do it once, right? I might even apply some brute force. There's some vendors in the market that are super famous for brute force. I don't believe in that, because you do it once and you will not do it again. You ruin your own name and you ruin the name of your company with that. So if you need a longer term perspective on this thing, then let me understand that you need that and find out how I can provide you that right information that you get the long-term perspective, right? Because I want to sit with you at the table not only once, I want to sit with you at every single time that we have another thing that can bring our two companies closer. I want to sit together with you, right? And I think the only way we can do that is that. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Carsten Uncut today from the Microsoft AI Tour in Germany, live in Munich. And thanks, Marius, for taking the time for recording this one.
Thanks for having me, Carsten.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.